The Carolina Panthers went from a Lambeau surge to a shock at home, and nobody expected the drop to feel this sharp. A week ago, the path looked open, the defense was sturdy, the run game was a hammer, and the mood in Charlotte was buzzing. That single challenge turned a loud building quiet, and it leaves one urgent question hanging in the air. What happens when opponents sell out to stop the run and make every throw matter? Here is the twist that stings. The formula that worked in Green Bay did not carry over when space disappeared on early downs. The offense needed rhythm, timing, and one clean explosive to loosen the box. Instead, drives bogged down, a red zone break turned into a giveaway. And a laid-out throw became the moment that swung belief back to New Orleans. The defense was good enough to win, outside of two deep shots that flipped the scoreboard, which only makes the offensive drought feel heavier. This was not a collapse. It was a precision problem at the worst possible time. What nobody is talking about is how weeks decide Sundays. Focus slips, route depths drift, protection calls come a tick late, and a game that should tilt your way turns into a grind. If the details were off, they showed up snap after snap. So the real story now is simple and tense. Can Carolina tighten the small things fast enough to punish stacked boxes next week? Stay with me, because next we pull back the curtain on preparation, why the little misses mattered, and how that shaped every drive. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Panthers and all the NFL content. Can we get 100 likes on this video? The Carolina Panthers walked into a division game that demanded sharp detail, and the difference showed the moment the ball was snapped. Practice habits echo on Sundays, and this week the echoes were messy. Veterans and coaches pushed for focus, but meetings and reps did not translate into clean execution. In a rivalry game, tiny gaps become big problems, and that is exactly what happened. Route depth slipped by a step, a protection call came a beat late, and a red zone exchange turned a gift into a missed chance. The timing on quick game looked just off, which shrank windows for Tedairoa McMillan and slowed progressions before they could even build speed. The line battled, the receivers found space at times, and the defense kept the score within reach. But the offense needed precise sequencing to keep the Saints from crowding the box, and it never fully clicked. This is where the week ahead becomes the story. Clean up installs, lock in the first 15, and give Bryce Young rhythm throws that set a tempo the box cannot smother. If Carolina fixes the preparation, the plan on game day can breathe again. Stay with me, because next we dig into the identity question, how a run-first approach meets a loaded box, and what play calls can flip that equation fast. The Carolina Panthers built an identity on power runs and patience. Then the Saints squeezed the line of scrimmage and turned that strength into a tight space puzzle. Every early handoff met extra bodies near the ball, and the usual cut lanes felt crowded before the snap. The surprise was not the resistance. It was how fast it forced Carolina to find a different answer. Here is the twist. A ground game can still lead the day, but it needs a partner that scares safeties. Quick throws to the perimeter keep corners honest. A simple slant to Tedairoa McMillan punishes soft leverage, and a hard play fake can free a crosser behind linebackers who lean forward. Mixed tempo, motion a receiver like Jimmy Horn Jr. to test eyes, then let Chuba Hubbard change speeds inside. One clean shot downfield makes those extra defenders back up, and that is when the run looks like itself again. What nobody is talking about is how the pass can be the fuel for the run when space shrinks. If Carolina lands timing routes on schedule and hits one vertical to T-Mac, the front loosens and the lanes return for Rico and the line. The question is simple and urgent. Can the air game flip the math when the box gets tight? Stay with me, because next we break down the passing picture, why certain throws stalled, and how one adjustment can open the entire field. The Carolina Panthers needed the ball out fast and on time, but the passing game never found a steady beat. Windows were there for a moment, then gone, and once the timing slipped, the Saints squeezed everything underneath. Bryce Young is in year 3, and this stage asks for rhythm throws that build confidence before the deep shot. When those early completions do not land, the defense sits on routes and the whole field feels smaller. The core issue is tempo and trust. The feet must match the read, the ball must arrive before the break, and the out throw has to hit the landmark or it becomes a gift for the corner. Deep crossers off play action can help, so can quick game to the boundary to give Tetairoa McMillan clean touches and set up a double move later. One early explosive loosens safeties, but it starts with simple completions that turn second and long into third and short. Without that chain, drives stall before they can threaten. There is also a results problem that feeds the narrative. Bryce has one game over 200 passing yards this season, and that number hangs over every snap until a real vertical threat shows up on tape. The fix is not fancy. Script the first throws, hit the perimeter, then climb the pocket and rip the inbreaker when the hook defender widens. If that rhythm sticks, the rest opens for the playmakers. Stay with me, because next we break down the weapons and the key moments that swung this game. From the red zone exchange to the missed shot that could have flipped the day. The Carolina Panthers have the pieces to scare defenses, and that is what makes this game feel so tense. Tetairoa McMillan wins outside with strong hands and simple separation. Jalen Coker returned with timing that helps third downs. Jimmy Horn Jr. brings jet motion speed that bends eyes. Xavier Legette can stack a corner when he gets a clean release. Mitchell Evans finds soft spots when the coverage turns its back. The talent is there, which is why every near miss lands heavy. Here is where the day tilted. A gift bounce after the block kick set the stage for a red zone chance that should swing momentum. Instead, a mishandled exchange turned hope into nothing. Later, an out throw arrived late, and the Saints answered with points. On earlier series, a quick perimeter ball to T-Mac was there, then a glance route flashed open before the window shut. These are small beats that decide a one-score game. When the first punch lands, the rest of the plan opens. When it does not, the defense keeps squeezing. What nobody is talking about is how one early explosive touch for a primary target can change the whole script. Hit McMillan on a simple slant, and now the slant and go is live. Feed Horn on motion and linebackers freeze. Find Evans off play action and safeties hesitate. The roster can create those answers if the timing meets the look. Stay with me, because next we put the spotlight on the defense. Why two explosive plays told the story, and how that unit still set a platform to win. The Carolina Panthers defense put the game on a plate and asked the offense to finish. For most of the day, they kept the Saints in front, rallied to the ball, and squeezed drives in the middle of the field. Then two strikes flipped the mood. A shot to Chris Olave and a breakdown that freed Juwan Johnson. In a low-scoring game, those moments were the difference, not the whole story. Here is what stood out. The front found pressure in key spots, edges set the edge, and the interior held up when the Saints tried to bully short yardage. J.C. Horn owned his reps in the locker room, and that leadership matters. Derek Brown anchored the traffic inside, and the pursuit stayed clean. The unit did not wilt after sudden change, even after the block kick chaos and the red zone turnover. Outside of the two explosives, the structure worked. What nobody is talking about is how close this was to a defensive blueprint win. Tackle in space, deny yards after catch, and wait for the offense to land one punch. That punch never came, which is why the spotlight turns back to plan and execution. Stay with me, because next we shift to the coaching lens, what can be tuned this week, and the simple calls that can give the offense air. The Carolina Panthers can change the feel of this offense with choices made on Tuesday and Wednesday, not only on Sunday. Dave Canales has a clear identity, run with force, then throw with purpose, but the script must light a spark earlier. The first drive needs simple throws that travel on time, a keeper to move the pocket, and one quick hit to Tetairoa McMillan that forces safeties to back up. The next tweak is sequencing. Marry inside runs with glance routes, pair duo with a tight end leak, and use Jimmy Horn Jr. in motion as a tell for leverage before the snap. Give Bryce Young fast answers, one to the flat, one on a slant, one in the middle, so the ball is out before pressure blooms. On third and medium, coach the landmark, throw to the spot, and live with the result. That builds trust and keeps the Saints-style blueprint from choking early downs in the future. Situational football must tighten. In the red zone, shrink the menu and call what players love. A high-low to the boundary, a play-action crosser, or a quick fade only if the corner is soft. After a sudden change, take one calm completion, then a shot if the look is clean. Special teams breaks cannot be wasted again. Coach the operation clean and bank the points. If these layers lock in, the offense breathes and the run game returns to form. Stay with me because next we set a must-win checklist for the Falcons, with clear targets that turn pressure into control. The Carolina Panthers step into Atlanta with the season feeling tight and alive, and the margin is small enough to feel it in every snap. Here's the hook that matters. Hit early, force respect, and make the Falcons back off the line. The first quarter target is simple and urgent. Put up 10 and land one explosive throw of at least 20 through the air to Tetairoa McMillan. When the defense has to honor that space, the ground game breathes and the whole call sheet opens. The path is clarity. Start under center, sell the run, and give Bryce Young fast answers that build tempo. One quick ball to the flat, one slant to T-Mac, one keeper that moves the pocket and sets his feet on rhythm. Use Jimmy Horn Jr. in motion to read leverage, then let Chuba Hubbard change the pace inside. On third and medium, throw to the landmark and trust the spot. In the red zone, shrink the menu and call what the group loves. A high-low to the boundary, a play-action crosser, or a simple back shoulder when the corner plays soft. Protect the football, cash the gifts, and stack points without blinking. Now flip the field and set rules for the defense. Cap explosives outside, plaster scramble drills, and make Atlanta drive the long way. Rally to the catch, keep contain on the edge, and squeeze screens before they turn into chunk gains. One takeaway changes the tone and tilts time of possession to the run. If this checklist lands, the narrative flips in a week and the playoff talk feels real again. Stay close, because the smallest details in Atlanta can turn into the biggest swing of the season.